On today's Viva ENT Rock, Pop, and Soul, we're talking Aerosmith, an American rock band formed in Boston in 1970. The group consists of Steven Tyler on vocals, Joe Perry on guitar, Tom Hamilton on bass, Joey Kramer on drums, and Brad Whitford on guitar. Their style, which is rooted in blues-based hard rock, has also incorporated elements of pop rock, heavy metal, glam metal, and rhythm and blues, and has inspired many subsequent rock artists. Aerosmith is sometimes referred to as the Bad Boys from Boston and America's greatest rock and roll band. The primary songwriting team of Tyler and Perry is sometimes referred to as the Toxic Twins.
King, oh yeah, I'm ready, can't help but stand. Such a rush, baby. I want you to touch me, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls, cats and chicks, you're listening to Viva ENT, Rock, Pop, and Soul. I'm Devin, the Ragdoll dude, filling in for Johnny the Capo today as he's out at the shores. I'm living in a movie.
Daddy's little cutie?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Not quite a dude that looks like a lady, but
like I was in college.
Kind of a hint on what we might be talking about today.
And next to me is the Mr. Encyclopedia. It's Darren Camp.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Train of Seattle on board. Right next to our conductor, Mr. Eric C.C. Ryder.
That's right. It's me, Eric
C.C.
Ryder.
Yeah.
We don't have the magic of Johnny aboard today.
We're slightly thrown off by the absence of our fearless leader, Johnny the Capo. But he'll be back with us next week.
And we're going to talk about Aerosmith with him because he's seen Aerosmith as well. But
yeah.
But so have you. You've seen Aerosmith.
I have seen them twice so far. Yep. Once in 1990 on the Pump Tour, and then once in 1993 on the Get a Grip Tour. Yep, both great shows.
And we're going to see him again at Climate Pledge Arena on November 24th.
Yeah.
The show was postponed. We were supposed to see Kiss in the same month as Aerosmith, but then Aerosmith postponed due to...
and that's why I'm wearing my Kiss shirt today.
And we just saw the Black Crowes this week at McCall Hall, and we're excited to see them again.
On Monday.
Yeah, on Monday, yeah.
Great show. I can't wait to see them again opening up for Aerosmith.
And so
cool.
Aerosmith, are you a fan, Eric?
You know, I like a few of their songs. I couldn't consider myself a proper fan of Aerosmith, but I respect their musicianship. And yeah, they've wrote some classics over the years.
Yeah.
So,
or as the kids like to say, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, they're legends, and it's funny. I play a Gibson Les Paul myself. I was just looking online. They recently just introduced the second Joe Perry Gibson signature model. So he's, I mean, you're a legend when Gibson has not one but two signature models of yours in their lineup.
So there's a lot of ups and downs of Aerosmith. They've been described as one of the most remarkable and spectacular comebacks in rock history.
Yeah, very famous comeback after they had some very famous drug problem issues.
But they got their start in the 60s. So they were...
like me.
With Perry and Hamilton in a jam band. And they were... their formation was of the Stranglers, later Chain Reactions in Yonkers, New York. So, but they're actually a Boston band.
Yeah, now they're considered a Boston band. Yep.
So they play their music at the Red Sox games.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They have lots of connections to that stuff.
Well, they're often referred to as the Bad Boys from Boston, and one of America's greatest rock and roll bands.
But of course, Joe Perry and Steven Tyler are also referred to as the Toxic Twins.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, legends and a long, long history of, albums and touring and mishaps and incidences.
Definitely didn't hurt that Joe Perry kind of looked like Sylvester Stallone, and and Steven Tyler kind of looked like Mick Jagger.
Right.
So, they were already cast in the mode of famous people, from the word jump,
Right.
So, yeah, they may be destined for success.
Oh, I mean, when we were kids, we used to sit and wonder who has bigger lips, Mick Jagger or Steven Tyler?
Right. And Steven Tyler famously had a T-shirt, "Who the F is Mick Jagger?"
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, because people confused him for
Right.
Mick all the time.
Exactly.
And he had a tongue like a snake almost. So
Right. Almost like Gene Simmons from Kiss.
So they've sold over 150 million records worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
85 million records in the United States. Do you have
crazy.
any of these? Did you buy those records when you were in?
Oh, sure. But so I'll be honest, I got into Aerosmith like in terms of buying records or CDs or stuff a little later in the game. So I didn't really get a lot of the early stuff. I mean, I remember getting the Greatest Hits album and, love that. And then when I was a DJ in college, that was when Permanent Vacation came out, and I remember buying, that CD and maybe one of the other ones after that. Yeah. But I wasn't super huge into collecting their stuff.
And then that kind of influenced your life to just live a permanent vacation at this point. So.
That's right. Always living the permanent vacation.
Well, Permanent Vacation was their big comeback album.
It was.
Was that at 1987? I believe that was after Walk This Way had became this huge crossover hit and put
86.
them back in the limelight again.
With Run DMC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they had this career in the 70s where they were pretty successful.
Yeah.
And then they kind of faded out as far as popularity went. Then Walk This Way happened, and they became a massive band again, bigger than ever.
Yeah. I mean, they had some big drug problems, of course, which, three of their albums were just not very good, which would be...
They're down in the rut, literally.
Night in the Ruts, Rockin' a Hard Place, and Done with Mirrors, really not very good albums. And so one of their managers or people convinced them to get cleaned up and go to rehab and was convinced that he could turn them into the biggest band ever if they all got cleaned up. And it pretty much worked. I mean, because they and it's funny because at one point I was telling Devin when we were walking up that the two of the main guys dropped out of the band in the from around 79 between then and 84. And apparently in 84, they were sitting in the audience watching the rest of Aerosmith do a concert and thought to themselves, we need to get back in this band. And so everybody sort of got their act together. And Permanent Vacation, what a great album that was. As I said, I was a DJ in college in 87, 88, right when that dropped. And we got a copy at the station, promo copy. And I played the heck out of that thing. Oh, it had so many good songs on it.
What are some of your favorite songs on that album?
Including my theme song, Dude Looks Like a Lady. So in college, my nickname was DAG, D-A-G. And and it sounds like what they say, dag, dag, dude looks like a lady. And so I had long hair in college. And so my other DJ friends that was my theme song.
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning of their career, 1973.
Yeah.
The first album, the self-titled debut, Aerosmith, comes out, and their first single was a hit for them, Dream On. It went to number 59, and I think this is probably one of their best songs.
Yes. Probably should have charted higher than 59.
Well, later they re-released it in 1975, and it went to number 6.
Yeah. Like it should have in the beginning.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer.
And of course, there's a subtle drug reference right
The
there.
past is gone. It went by like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody sings. You got to lose to know how it goes. Half my life's in books, written pages, living, learn from fools and from sages.
It's the slow buildup of this song that really makes it. You know, they were definitely taking cues from bands like Led Zeppelin with that, you know, doing that kind of slow build-up thing. And then by the time the middle of the song happens and there's the big build-up, it really sells it, you know.
Yeah. Yep. When the drums come in real hard.
Right.
Take you away.
Yep. So two other songs on that first album I really, really love. Of course, Mama Kin, a classic, and
Walking the Dog? Is that the
and
other-
Walking the Dog. But I was going to say real quick, the Mama Kin, Izzy Stradlin and Guns N' Roses, very influenced by Aerosmith. And at the GNR show, they did a little quick cover of Mama Kin during the show. Walking the Dog, one of my all-time favorite old sort of blues standards by a guy named Rufus Thomas, 1963. And not only did Aerosmith cover Walking the Dog, but Rat covered that on their very first album, which was a great version of it. And a lot of other bands have covered, tons of bands have covered that song. And it is really, it's one of my early favorites of theirs for sure.
You're familiar with Walking the Dog?
I am. I think the Sonics even covered this song back in the
believe they did.
60s. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kingsmen, who was the first real live band I ever saw in concert, covered it.
And this is a little bit of the Rufus Thomas version.
Yeah. And this is the version where he's whistling at his
Baby
songs.
back, dressed in black, silver buttons all down her back. Hello, tipsy toe. She broke a needle and she can't sew. Walking the dog, just a walking bird dog. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk the dog.
And here's a little bit of Aerosmith's version.
There's the whistle. At the dog. I love it.
Broken needle now, she can't so walking the dog.
There we go.
I'm just a walking yonder. Well, if you don't know how to do
Here
it,
comes the
I'll show
scratchy
you
part.
how to walk the dog. Ask your mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can't do that with my cat though.
Please don't do that with your cat.
But your cat could do that if your cat could play guitar.
They were cool cats, but so they had Guitar Hero, like Metallica, and all these releases in their early 2000s. But yeah, Guitar Hero Aerosmith was considered the best-selling band-centric video game, and I played that as a young teenager and got almost all the achievements in the game. So I'm stoked to see them in real life.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen them. So
You'll be amazed.
have
They're
you seen
awesome.
them, Eric? Or?
Only on TV.
Oh, on TV. Okay.
Yeah.
So
75, the second album comes out and yields a second hit for them, A Sweet Emotion, which another song that I actually think is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
This went to number 36.
And here's another one with the build-up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even better build-up than Dream On.
Yeah.
I love the dreamy intro here on this.
And it's the vibra slap, the little thing that he's doing. We saw a band use that recently, and I had to ask him what that's called. It's called the vibra slap.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a didgeridoo is involved. In the
Oh
beginning
yeah,
there, too.
yeah, it might be. Yep, and then when these guitars come in, it's like,
Talk about things that nobody cares. Wearing out the things that nobody wears. You call my name, but I gotta make clear. I can't say, baby, where I'll be in a year. Some sweet hog mama with a face like a gent. Said my get up and go, must have got up and went.
Many Aerosmith fans believe that Steven Tyler wrote all the lyrics to the song about the tension and hatred between the band members and Joe Perry's first wife. Ouch.
Yeah.
Tyler himself has said that only some of the lyrics were inspired by Perry's wife.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you read up, part of what caused Joe to leave the band in 1979 was the fact that his wife threw something at one of the other band members' wives oh goodness, now I'm going to get it. Tom Hamilton's wife.
Apparently it was milk.
Yeah, it was milk.
Threw milk over Tom Hamilton's wife.
Yeah, and then later Joe and Steven got into an argument about whatever, his wife and stuff, and by the time they saw the show in '74, when they were not in the band and they were watching Aerosmith, he had divorced his wife. So
they made a mountain out of
it. It was
milk
good to get
bowl.
back together because she was gone.
Well, this song was co-written by Steven Tyler and bassist Tom Hamilton, and you can hear that the bass player co-wrote this tune because the bass line rules.
Yes.
Standing in front of just shaking your ass. I take you backstage, you can drink from my glass. I talk about something you can sure understand. 'Cause a month on the road and I'll be eating from your hand.
Yeah, speaking of which, Izzy Stradlin, basically one of the things that he said about why Aerosmith influenced him so much and why he liked them so much was that the bass interaction with him and Joe Perry's guitar, the back and forth between the two of them and the syncing and all the stuff, was something he really dug. he really liked. And so that was something that he tried to do with Slash in Guns N' Roses.
Just the
Try to
Charlicks
emulate
have
that.
personality. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
Speaking of Guns N' Roses, I saw Axl Rose's doppelganger, the young Axl Rose's doppelganger, on the streets of Seattle on Sunday.
Wow.
I said, wow, that guy could be Axl Rose's son.
Right. Or like if they did a biopic movie. He
Yeah.
could be the guy who plays him when he's young.
or he's
Yeah.
in a tribute band to him. Who knows?
Right, maybe. But it looked like him.
Oh, I love it.
Like, the video for Welcome to the Jungle where he gets off the bus, and
Yeah.
he looks like a hayseed before he gets all glammed out.
Right.
That's what that guy looked like.
That's
exactly
funny.
like that. I was like, whoa, double take.
I love it.
And, the Toys in the Attic album, Really Sweet Emotion was the only hit from that, but they did release a song that would later prove to be a massive hit for the band, Walk This Way, the second single off of Toys in the Attic from 1975.
Backstory lover, always hiding beneath the covers till I talk to you, my daddy will say. He said, you ain't seen nothing till you're down on the muffin, then you're sure to be changing your ways. I met a cheerleader, was a real young breeder, times like a reminisce. All the best things of loving with a sister and a cousin, only started with a little kiss like this.
And I mean, this song, even in its 1975 incarnation, almost feels like hip hop. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from the rocking guitars, it's basically Steven Tyler rapping on it, and the beat is very proto hip hop.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome.
So Run DMC picked the right song to build off of for a hip hop rock crossover.
Because they weren't no fools.
They learned how to walk and they ran with it.
So I told you that I love Walking the Dog, but there's one other cover that is on that same album, Toys in the Attic, that is probably my favorite Aerosmith cover. And that is the big 10-inch record. You guys know about that song?
I do know about that song.
No?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, let's listen to a clip if you can maybe pull up a little clip.
Yeah, well, tell us about it.
It's an old blues song. I can't remember who the original was. I'd have to look it up, but I didn't print that one out, unfortunately. But it's an old blues, sort of not maybe a standard. It was maybe a more obscure blues song, but it is very, suggestive, of course, because bands like Aerosmith like to be suggestive about stuff in their songs. And so, anyway, the big 10-inch record, though, they did a great redo of it.
Is it the size of a record? Is standard
It was.
Is 10 inches?
First recorded in 1952 by Bull Moose Jackson.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, I did. That's right.
Last night I tried to tease her. I gave her love a little pinch. She said, now stop at jobbing. Now whip out your big 10-inch. Wreck it up, band of players of blues. A band of players of blues. She just loves my big 10-inch. Wreck it on my baby blues.
All right.
I said it was a little suggestive.
Yes. And you weren't lying.
I wasn't lying. I don't like to do that.
Yeah, you want to watch out if you're in an elevator. It's like it's going to make love in an elevator.
Well, you know how...
You don't want to pull out a big 10-inch record in an elevator,
right.
that's for sure.
Right. Why not a 12-inch?
A 12-inch single, huh?
Yeah. Well, you know how Dream On was originally released in 73 and went to number 59, and then was re-released in 75 and went to number 6. Well, they followed this pattern again with Walk This Way, which did nothing when it was released in 75. But a few years later, they re-released it in 76. So not a few years later, but 1 year later. And it went to number 10. So I wasn't aware that it had 3 incarnations, basically.
Sure.
And of course, the most successful being in 86. So 10 years later. But it was a hit in 76 when it got re-released.
Yeah, no, it's funny. A lot of bands, do that. What we just saw with at Christmas, Brenda Lee, "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree," became a number 1 hit for the first time because it got re-entered into the charts. So it happens. And it's always good for the bands, of course, when it does.
Sure.
Yeah, but it makes you. It always, of course, also makes you wonder what happened the first time around.
Right. Yeah. So who dropped the ball?
Yeah. What happened there?
Well, they had another record in 76. It was called Rocks. And there was a hit off of that called Back in the Saddle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I love the actual horse sounds in the background.
And Last Child, also from Rocks, went to number 21.
Yeah. You know what this song reminds me of? Fame.
Yeah.
Has that sort of same beat as Fame.
That's right, yeah. And released around the same time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder which one was first because Fame was released in June 1975.
Oh, was it 75?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would have been pretty concurrent.
Yeah.
But something was in the air because James Brown had a song with this riff and
there was a lawsuit.
And Fame. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This
And
one not quite as on the nose as James Brown's song Fire.
Right.
But yeah, very similar to Fame.
Yeah.
Good ear.
And all these music videos back then were taking over MTV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, MTV didn't quite exist. Yeah. It was. It would have been like
they were doing
81,
videos, but
80?
82, I think, maybe.
Wow.
Or maybe 81. They were doing videos and stuff, but they didn't have the same platform as MTV to do stuff. There were some shows like Burt Sugarman's Midnight Special and some other shows that would showcase bands or show band videos late at night.
But they were in that movie, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was going to actually say that we're getting to that place where they were.
When
in
did
the
they come
movie.
out? About 78 or so? Or?
That's,
Yes,
that's right.
78,
Yeah. 77 saw Draw the Line from them, which featured Draw the Line and Kings and Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of minor hits for the band, but this version of Come Together in 1978 from the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band soundtrack went all the way to number 23 for them.
Yeah. And I have a story about this one.
Yeah, come on, flat top, come grooving up solar. He got juju eyeball, he won't hold that roller. He got hair down to his knee. Got to be a joker, he just do what he please.
He was describing himself there.
Yeah.
Yeah, something sounds weird to me hearing Steven Tyler talk about toe jam football and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
But a very credible version of the tune. You
Yeah.
know, that I feel like that song maybe not be the easiest thing to play,
Sure.
but they do a great job.
So first off, that song is very instrumental in my novel, my John Lennon novel, The John Lennon Conspiracy. It's a central part of the end of the novel. But
Has that been released, or is that something we can
it
look
is
forward
something
to?
you can find online for free on lulu.com. Look up my name, Darren T. Camp, and then the John Lennon Conspiracy on lulu.com. That's my publisher. It's free to read. It's only an ebook. It's not printed in paper yet. So there's that, and so that's cool. But the other thing the funny story I was gonna mention was the fact that, so when that movie came out in 1978, I remember one weekend, I lived in Evansville, Indiana area, and one weekend my best friend and I were getting together with my dad and looking in the newspaper to see what movies were playing that weekend. And my dad was going to take us to a movie, drop us off, get some stuff done, and then pick us up, whatever. And we boiled it down to two movies, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and a movie that had been in the theater for over a year, Star Wars, that I had seen probably a dozen times. And I was getting into music at a young age, and so I was sort of more leaning towards the Sgt. Pepper's option. But I was outvoted 2-1 by my best friend and my dad, who thought it would probably be a safer bet to go see Star Wars again. So we did.
Well, I think a lot of people made that decision because famously, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was a flop.
Yes.
But the soundtrack seems to have done pretty well.
With Earth, Wind, and Fire on it.
Yep.
And, Billy Preston. That was a great soundtrack.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, they were they starred as the future villain band in the movie that the Sgt. Pepper band was up against.
So are we approaching Toys in the Attic? Is that
Well, Toys in the Attic, I believe, was the second album and third album. That's right, and so that did have Sweet Emotion on it and Walk This Way. So we're up to essentially 79, Night in the Ruts, Rockin' a Hard Place in 82, Done with Mirrors 85, 86. These albums didn't really yield them any big hits. They had some play on the U.S. rock charts. Let the Music Do the Talking in 85 was probably the biggest hit from that era for them. They're kind of in the wilderness at this point with the record's not selling that well. And you as a fan say that these aren't their best albums.
But
not
that
their
was
best
also
effort.
when the other two main guys were not in the band.
Right.
Yeah.
So what, Steven Tyler and
Joe Perry.
And Joe Perry no longer in Aerosmith at this point.
Yeah. And as I said, they're sitting in the audience at one point in 74 watching Aerosmith and thinking to themselves, we really need to get back in this band and
get the band back
get
together.
the band back together. And as I said, his wife he had divorced his wife, Joe Perry. So she was out of the picture and wasn't really a burr under their saddle anymore. And he said in 75 they got into the studio and sort of all looked at each other and just thought, yep, we're back home. We're where we're supposed to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently Rockin' a Hard Place, the seventh album, is the only one to not feature Joe Perry on it. And when you've got somebody like him that is such an essential part of their sound, it seems wild to even continue without him. And so they were wandering, still making records, still trying to get it together. Fortune's not so great for the band, but a rap group from Queens, New York.
Yeah, the Run DMC thing is really...
released a cover of Walk This Way with Aerosmith and sampling heavy, and then the video kind of really changed everything for Aerosmith.
Yeah. Brought their career out of the gutter.
Exactly. And this is one of the earliest examples of rap rock. And the crossover that, you know.
And new recorded vocals by Tyler.
Well, actually, a lot of it is re-recorded. Rick Rubin produced the song, and he brought in Tyler and Perry to re-record their parts.
Yeah.
Initially, Run and DMC intended to mimic Tyler's delivery, which would have been pretty interesting. But they were convinced by Jam Master Jay, their DJ, to do it in a more natural rap flow.
Yeah.
Perry also recorded the bass tracks for the song. The studio didn't have a bass at hand, so one of the Beastie Boys who happened to hang around the studio went home and brought in his bass for Perry to use.
Nice.
So the Beastie Boys really playing an integral part in this. Who knew?
They had fresh kicks, and the walk was a bit peppier.
And this would have been my first introduction to Aerosmith. At this point, I didn't know who they were, and this video is just a great video with them kind of both groups practicing on either side of a wall, and then eventually like breaking through to each other to collaborate, and it's pretty great.
Yeah. And this was 1986, the year I graduated from high school.
That's right. Released July 4th, 1986.
Yeah.
And this was Aerosmith's biggest hit and Run DMC's biggest hit. Went to number 4.
Yeah.
Way better than Done with Mirrors with songs like Gypsy Boots, The Hop, Shame on You. I haven't heard of any of these songs.
Who has?
Right.
Except for the band members.
Well, even them might be a little hazy at this point.
Right.
We probably won't be hearing those at the concert.
No.
Yeah,
so.
Some of the lyrical content, I think, for Aerosmith stuff does just maybe doesn't quite hold up in today's today's culture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Madonna still was able to pull it off, so I hope it's not all backing track when Aerosmith is there, but it's probably going to be a bit.
Well,
I wouldn't think so.
I don't know if Madonna ever did anything that would maybe be as controversial or offensive today as, say, Dude Looks Like a Lady.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
but this was their...
You weren't at that show.
their first big hit after the Run DMC crossover success, 1987.
Yeah, my theme song.
Permanent Vacation. And this went to number 14. Apparently inspired by Motley Crue and especially Vince Neil.
I like it. Well, they did look like ladies, kind of.
They're a Motley Crue. Well, apparently this is the first album they did sober.
Yeah.
And actually the music holds up. It's okay.
The music
catchy
is great.
riff.
Better than ever.
probably the first time they used horns on a track as well.
Sure.
Yeah. And it definitely paid off for them. And then the follow-up.
Although they did use flute on one song in their first album.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll go back and check that out later.
Yeah.
The follow-up was a bigger hit. Angel went to number 3. And it must have seemed like a miracle to these guys after several years of not really charting and, just kind of being in the wilderness popularity-wise, declining sales, declining audiences, to suddenly be back in the limelight and to be able to capitalize on that with 3 smash hits from the record that came out right after.
And it probably just really reinforced the dude's point that getting clean and sober was,
right, kind of important for them.
Was mandatory.
Yeah,
almost.
absolutely.
Gotta show up to practice, man.
But this was like the era when the big heavy rock ballad was like a big thing, like Sister Christian and
Absolutely.
a lot of bands had these big ballads like this, even the hard rock bands, Scorpions.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the 70s when they came out, there was hard rock bands, but it wasn't quite as ubiquitous as by the mid-'80s when they made their comeback. They just really made their comeback at exactly the right time for glam rock, hard rock with glam influence to, be, one of the biggest bands in the world. If they had made their comeback in the 90s, might not have had quite the success that they did by coming back in 86 with crossover success.
Especially because the 90s was dominated by grunge.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
Sounds are changing, music taste.
It was bands like Motley Crue and, Poison and stuff that were really big. So Aerosmith, slid right into that perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the parallel to the Black Crowes is they're going to have that song, play that song, She Talks to Angels. So
there you go. Yeah, they could do a medley. Well, if you watched MTV at the time, you might have thought that this was the biggest hit from the record because they played the heck out of this video. Ragdoll.
Oh, yeah.
Went to number 17, but gosh, I would have thought this was a number 1 hit by the amount of times I saw it on MTV at the time. Yeah, 3 smash hits from Permanent Vacation.
Yeah.
87 and 88.
Yeah, like I said, I had that CD at the radio station, KSMC St. Mary's College in 87, 88, right after it came out, and I just played the heck out of that CD. Yeah, I mean, it had other good songs on it that, were not the huge hits, but were good radio hits still.
And then didn't they wait a few years before releasing Pump? They had a little gap there? Or?
Yeah, I think they were probably on tour, for 2 years after Permanent Vacation came out in 87.
They're on permanent tour.
Yeah. they might have thought, like, permanent vacation is like essentially you're dead or you're retired. But little did they know that this would be probably the most successful record to date. And then 89, you're right, a couple years later, Pump came out. And that could have been the end. I mean, a lot of bands, have, waves in their career where they come back and are big for an album and then disappear. But Aerosmith just kept scoring hits. In 89, they released Pump, and the lead single, Love in an Elevator, went to number 5. Another smash hit.
Working like a devil, the boss man. Working for the company. Betting on the dice I'm tossing. I'm gonna have a fancy. Where am I gonna look? Tell me that love is blind. I really need a girl like an open book to read between the lines. Loving in an elevator. Living it up when I'm going down. Loving in an elevator. Loving it up till I hit the ground. Shaggers in the elevator. Launch a race on your floor. Just said, "Can't see you later."
Quite a music video too.
Right. Yeah. And they definitely kind of mastered this party rock, pop rock sound like nobody else at the time. This was just like, that maybe Def Leppard would have been the other band that really had that like just super tight, super polished, hooky as hell kind of sound. And, it paid off big time for them.
Yeah.
So excited for the lineup this year. We're seeing Def Leppard, seeing Aerosmith.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of
We
great
just added
bands.
Missy Elliott and
So,
Timberland. That's
I
gonna be
just
fun.
looking. I printed out the set list from the 2 concerts that I saw, Aerosmith in 90 and then 93, and some interesting stuff. First of all, with the one from Pump Tour, you know how bands always love to, when they're in Seattle, do like a Seattle band tribute. Well, they did the song Red House by Jimi Hendrix Experience in 1990. So that was pretty cool. Their big Seattle tribute.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe we'll do something like that again.
Yeah. And then real quick, the other thing I was going to say is that, and I just realized that, I had the Moose Allison information in front of me here, but the Kings and Queens, we mentioned that earlier. It was one of the sort of lesser sort of hits, but when I saw them in Seattle in 1993, they actually did the song Kings and Queens for the first time live since 1984. So for almost 9 years or so. That was pretty cool. But yeah, those guys are great in concert. When we see them this year, it's gonna be fantastic. I mean, they're just excellent.
Black Crowes are playing some songs that they hadn't played in years either. So
Yeah, Black Crowes. Yeah, they played a few tour debuts on our show, and then they played some songs they hadn't played since the 2000s. Yeah, they've been. That's one of the points I think of their new tour is getting out old songs that they haven't played in a while, and also doing old covers.
yeah, the Roadrunner, the Bo Diddley cover.
Yeah, that's getting a lot of hits on YouTube, actually, right now. That one is a big one. And they've been doing the song Carol by Chuck Berry and a lot of other good covers that they've been throwing into their sets.
And they have a lot more hits that we could talk about because well into the 90s, they were still scoring hits. But unfortunately, we got to wrap up. We're out of time for today. So anything you guys want to talk about before we get out of here today?
Well, it's my birthday this week, so that's
Yeah.
going to be
Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday to the dude.
And we're having fun on 420, seeing Tommy Chong at
Yeah.
the
at the Muckleshoot Casino.
Muckleshoot Casino, and then I'm seeing real Devin the Dude at Nectar Lounge on the 21st. So
That's right.
Right on.
and then AJR's coming up on the 26th,
Mm-hmm.
and Justin Timberlake and Rolling Stones and Billy Joel and May. So
Oh, it's going to be a crazy, crazy summer this summer with concerts that we're going to.
so
Very cool.
But got to talk about your YouTube channel for a moment. Your
Oh, my new one?
And mention both of them, yeah.
Sure. Oh, and of course we want to mention the group page.
Oh, yeah, Viva ENT, the Facebook group, Talk Radio, Rock, Pop, and Soul. That's where you connect with Johnny and the big community. It's growing.
Yeah.
About local music. So.
Always fun posts and stuff in there. My one YouTube channel at Do Train would be the one for my live concert videos and stuff. And then I also recently launched a new YouTube channel, Mother McCree's Mother McCree's Warlocks and Grateful Dead Archives. So I'm going through the archive.org site and downloading all of the Grateful Dead shows that are there to be downloaded and uploading them to my new YouTube channel. So if you're into the Grateful Dead at all, you can check that out. And then you've got a big channel.
Oh, yeah, Devin Creisler Studios, which is producing more views than the Climate Pledge Arena has their YouTube's ever had. So per month, which is kind of getting ridiculous.
Awesome.
So that's you'll find my stuff. You've got any upcoming events or
Battersea?
shows? Or?
No shows lined up at the moment, but our album is out.
Is it doing well?
It's doing all right.
Good.
BatterseaTheBand.bandcamp.com, and we've got a video up on YouTube for our single Bell's Palsy, so please check that out if you get a chance. And we're going to go out today with the next smash hit from the Pump album, Janie's Got a Gun, went to number 4.
And this is about the time they're going on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
1989.
Well, to be continued, Aerosmith, so we didn't touch the surface here, so... Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for coming on the show again, Darren.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
And thank you, Eric, as always, for holding down the fort.
Sun. What did her daddy do? What did he put you through? They say when Jamie was arrested, they found him underneath the train. But man, he had it coming. Now that Jamie's got a gun, she ain't never gonna be the same. Got a gun.